Well, good evening, everybody. My name is Scott Simon. I'm Vice Chair of the Maltz Museum's Stop the Hate Committee. I want to thank all of you for joining us tonight to learn more about this year's program offerings, including our annual contest, classroom workshops, and an online Stop the Hate tour. We have a really incredible group of people that you're going to hear from tonight, and I have to say that we are thrilled with the number of people that are on this webinar tonight. So thank you again for joining us. The Maltz Museum has done an incredible job reimagining the Stop the Hate program amid the COVID-19 pandemic last year, and continue to make changes this year to bring the best possible programs to students and to schools. The Maltz Museum is a museum of action, where people of all ages and backgrounds come to learn about the history of bias and discrimination in order to recognize and prevent hate in all of its forms, in the present and most certainly into the future. And in a traditional year, the museum opens its doors to as many as 10,000 students who participate in student tours, the most popular of which, of course, is the Stop the Hate Tour, which you now can access for free digitally. Also each year, approximately 3,000 6th through 12th grade students participate in our Stop the Hate contest, using their voices to speak out against bias and discrimination while competing for a chance to win $100,000 in scholarships and prizes. I am so honored to tell you that to date, we've given out $1.3 million in awards. So let's take just a moment and meet a few of the inspiring students who participated by watching this short video.
I was pretty young the first time I heard someone say something racist.
You're pretty articulate for a black person.
The N-word slid off of his tongue.
Yes, police. I'm here at Boulevard Park and I believe these two black men are selling drugs. Was that how the phone call about my father and I went?
I told people I was Lebanese and then they started calling me a terrorist, saying I was gonna bomb the school.
Be quiet, you smelly Indian.
People stared at me for my traditional Indian clothes.
Someone who I thought was a friend sneered the words ching chong ching chong. And when I saw other people laughing at me, I laughed with them.
I tried to ignore it.
I told myself that what I felt did not matter.
I never represented the female stereotype. Everywhere I went, I would hear, "Excuse me, sir," or "Hello, young man."
I heard people talk about the LGBTQ plus community, and normally it wasn't a good thing.
The teachers heard his words and took no action.
Why did the teacher not say anything to the boy who was so hateful towards me?
I don't think adults understand the pressure when an entire group of students turns against you.
The internet is filled with people who believe that this behavior is fine.
Hate always starts small, starting with racist jokes and ending with violence.
I began cycling through the depictions of black people and the idea of black people being unintelligent, irresponsible, and lazy throughout the centuries.
56 years ago, my grandpa marched for voting rights across the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, Alabama. An African American born in 1938, my grandpa married a woman of Polish descent in 1961, when interracial marriage was still illegal in 24 states. My grandpa understood that change does not just happen. It is forged by people who act with intention.
I watched the news.
Protests were being shown on the news.
On the day of the protests, we held our signs proudly, high in a sea of other artistically crafted boards calling for justice.
I'll never forget that day when someone had enough hate to call the police on us for working out. I'll never forget when a person viewed me as a criminal or thug. I'll never forget the fear I felt when the officer approached. To think that woman doesn't know the outcome of her call, or the hate and panic I felt, or more importantly, she doesn't know the real me.
I've learned sometimes you have to do things that make you feel uncomfortable. But when it's speaking out against hate, it's always the right thing to do.
I learned that my voice has power.
Maybe if more people learned to build the bridge, innocent black men wouldn't have to fear the police. Maybe then we could stop the hate.
Together, we could stop the hate.
What we can talk about, we can stop.
It can be very tough to get past the crowd of stereotypes.
I keep myself educated and correct people who use stereotypes.
I want to influence others with challenges and show them that they are loved.
I desire to lead my life with love.
I call for a brighter future without discrimination and hate. It starts with all of us.
Everyone has the potential to influence society.
There will always be people who laugh.
When we laugh at others, we dehumanize them. But when we strive to put a smile on their faces, we uplift each other.
Thinking about your actions or choice of words is something that anyone can do in order to be a better person. Together, with our shared compassion, love, and humanity, I know we can make a difference and stop the hate.
Wow. I'm sure that all of you are as inspired as I am, and as I was last year when I saw those top 25 finalists from the Stop the Hate essay writing contest speaking to us in their own words. It's amazing. The contest has always been our flagship program, but last year during the pandemic, we asked educators how we could best support them during uncertain times. That's why we not only expanded the contest, but we also created digital learning opportunities that bring the Maltz Museum into the classroom to be used whether students are at home or at school. And using these free resources is our way of saying thank you for working with us to stop the hate in Northeast Ohio and beyond. So these new offerings are made possible thanks to some very special people, the dedication of our Maltz Museum staff. So I'd like to introduce to you several of them right now. First is Dahlia Fisher, Director of External Relations. Hi, Dahlia.
Hi.
Courtney Krieger is Education and Outreach Manager. Hi, Courtney.
Hello.
And Shober Hammer is our Education and Program Coordinator. Hi, Shober. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dahlia to talk to you about the contests.
Thanks so much, Scott. Gosh, we're so lucky to have you with us, and this is an exciting time for the Maltz Museum. We appreciate you being part of all that's happening. And hello to all of our friends who have joined together to learn more about our Stop the Hate program. Since we're in webinar mode, we can't see all your beautiful faces, but we are hoping that you're smiling on your side and accepting ours. My name's Dahlia Fisher, and I'm going to take a few minutes to discuss how students and educators can participate in the Stop the Hate contest this year. Now, new as of last year, there are 2 Stop the Hate contest tracks. One is for songwriting and one is for essay writing. The songwriting track is exclusively open to classrooms or homeschool groups with at least 15 students, and the essay writing track is for individual students. So what is the Speak Out essay writing contest? The essay contest invites 6th to 12th grade students to pen a personal essay in 500 words or less about bias they've witnessed or experienced, and then share what they have done or will do in response. So any 6th to 12th grade student may participate as long as they live within one of the following counties: Ashtabula, Cuyahoga, Geauga, Lake Lorraine, Mahoning, Medina, Portage, Stark, Summit, Trumbull, and Wayne. So to enter, students can respond to the essay theme of courage. Inspired this year by Cambodian-born American human rights activist, author, and Cleveland resident, Luang Ung, who famously said, "Courage is when you dare to be yourself in whatever ways you want to be, to not be afraid, to just do it." So in 500 words or less, we invite students to think about how they have been courageous in their own lives. Have they witnessed or experienced acts of injustice, racism, bigotry, or discrimination? How were they impacted by what they experienced, saw, or heard? And what did they do, or will they do, to create justice and positive change? These essays can be submitted online through our official entry form. The portal is open now, and the deadline to enter for grades 6 through 10 is February 10th, and grades 11 and 12 is February 17th. The main difference between the essay writing and songwriting contests is that students enter as individuals for essay writing, and they enter as part of a class for songwriting. And
Thanks,
now I'm going
Dahlia.
to shoot it over to Courtney.
Hello, everyone. Thanks, Dahlia. We are so excited about this opportunity for schools and students. I'm Courtney Krieger, and together with Shober Hammer, we manage the day-to-day operations of the Stop the Hate program. Dahlia mentioned that the only way to participate in the songwriting contest is through a classroom. Let me explain how that works. For over a decade, we've been celebrating the power of music through a classroom-based group songwriting competition for 6th to 12th grade students called Youth Sing Out. Now, we are able to offer the contest to any 6th through 12th grade classroom in the 12 counties Dahlia mentioned earlier. In order to enter, classrooms must participate in a free songwriting workshop and work with a teaching artist from Roots of American Music to pen an original song. This song becomes the class submission to the contest and is judged by a panel of music experts selected in partnership with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Winning classrooms receive anti-bias education grants for their schools. Workshops can be scheduled now, and songs are submitted by February 17th. We love this structure so much, and so did all of the educators and students who participated, that we extended the workshop concept to the essay writing as well. Now, educators can help students get the most out of the program by choosing to participate in an essay writing workshop or a songwriting workshop. You can also do both. Led by our awesome educational partners, Lake Erie Inc. and Roots of American Music, with additional support materials from Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Shober, if you can put the chart on, that would help. So let me show you how it works. An educator chooses if they want to participate in a songwriting workshop, the essay writing workshop, or both. Both workshops include starting with the Stop the Hate digital tour or visiting the Maltz Museum in person for a self-guided tour. Then the workshops shift based on the selection. Essay writers will hear from a Holocaust survivor and engage in a question and answer session. Songwriters will take a digital tour on the power of music and protest provided by the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Next, teaching artists meet with students, either online or in person, for a series of lessons. Thank you, Shober. I'd like to now welcome our partners to talk about what the workshops entail. Lake Erie Inc., operating our essay writing workshops. Roots of American Music, operating our songwriting workshops. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, providing supplemental materials online. And then we will hear from one of our 2021 Stop the Hate Teacher of the Year, Kari Beery of Mayfield High School, to tell us about her experience participating in both workshops. So now I'd like to turn it over to Cynthia Larson, the Director of Education at Lake Erie Inc.
Hello, everybody. So my name is Cynthia Larson, and I'm really excited that, again, this year, Lake Erie Inc. is participating in the Stop the Hate Youth Speak Out Essay Contest, with partnering with the Maltz Museum. Lake Erie Inc. is a writing space for youth that provides creative expression opportunities and academic support in the greater Cleveland community. And we envision a community where youth discover their voices, share their ideas, and inspire each other as valued participants. So there is no better project to show that vision and that value than the Stop the Hate Youth Speak Out Essay Contest. Last year, 14 Lake Erie Inc. artists worked with 1,480 students on the Stop the Hate essay. Students were taken through a 6-session curriculum, for the most part, exploring hate, standing up to hate, and learning how to write a personal essay. We can help your students. We will motivate them. We will teach them new writing strategies and guide them through the entire process, help them create an authentic and powerful narrative, and help them experience the power of peer editing and revision. We do this by building relationships between students and with students, creating a safe climate, sharing effective mentor texts, being mindful of student needs and experiences, providing activities for diverse learning modalities, and respecting student experiences, voices, abilities, and ideas. I want to stop now and just share an excerpt from an essay. Last year, I was honored to read so many stories by students about their experiences with hate. And I know that you only were able to see a few of those essays as winners and semifinalists for the Stop the Hate essay contest. So I just want to show you some of the valuable work that happens that never actually makes it into a booklet. This is an essay from a student at East Tech High School. When I was in kindergarten, I had my off days quite often, and I didn't always think about what came out of my mouth. I'm not very good at math. It always made me very upset, especially seeing every one of my friends get it. One day, one of my teachers came over to help me. She was very beautiful and had this crazy fun side to her. When she approached me and asked to help, I declined her offer. So she came and sat next to me and tried to explain it to me. Not knowing my right from my wrong and behaving how I was raised, I reacted with some very hurtful things about her skin color and her sexuality. I had heard these words around my family, but I didn't know what I meant. Years later, I saw her again and I immediately started crying. For me to remember I used these words then is hard for me now because I have learned from experience how it feels to be called those words and how much it hurts. And I share this with you simply because I think it is so important for everyone to realize the value of this essay contest, whether you win or not. The students write meaningful stories and share those stories with each other, and the messages they share with each other and the action they take in speaking out is so powerful. Lake Erie Inc.'s writing sessions include these 6 different modules or sessions: creating a safe space, building relationships, exploring concepts, searching for stories, writing your narrative, adding detail and reflection. Then a significant portion is spent on peer editing workshops where students share their work with each other, which both helps them to grapple with the issues, but also helps them learn how to communicate more effectively, and it helps them learn the meaning of their writing and writing for a meaningful purpose. And then we support them in the revision process. These are some quotes from students, things that they said that they learned last year. I pulled these from the evaluation. I learned how to step out of my comfort zone, how to effectively express my thoughts and use details to make a story come to life. I learned you can make change happen when you work together. I can share my ideas and change to help others, and share my ideas and be supported. I learned how to reread paragraphs I write so I can revise. These are some things students say they learned about stopping hate. It takes a lot of courage to stand up. Stick up for people, use your voice. Everyone goes through something. Even little things can hurt. I learned how much my story impacted me and how I found out ways to cope with the feelings that followed the event. There are more people who are willing to listen to my story. My voice has so much power. These are things students said about making change. No matter how small an act is, it can still help someone. It's okay to be myself even if I get judged. It's okay to be uncomfortable at first. Sitting down and thinking through your problems is unimaginably therapeutic. It's okay to tell people things. You don't just have to keep everything bottled up inside for no one to see or know. I am not alone. Everyone makes mistakes, but I need to correct my mistakes. And here's some tips from Lake Erie Inc. to you, teachers and students who are participating tonight. Prepare with Maltz Museum resources. You've already heard about these: the in-person or digital Stop the Hate tour, meeting a Holocaust survivor. But I also want to do a shout out for the other resources, including the learning progression, which can be found at resources and learn, I think. If you go to the tabs on the Maltz Museum website, there are lots and lots of valuable, I think probably underutilized, packed resources in there and activities to do with your students. Give your students time to discuss the ideas before they look at the prompt. Sometimes looking at the prompt is scary and stops learning, so you really want to explore the ideas first. To find a powerful story, brainstorm without judgment, without self-censoring. Focus on the new quote. I think the new quote is going to give us some powerful ways to think about stopping hate. Ask yourself or ask your students, when have you dared to be yourself? When have you been afraid to be yourself? When have you seen others be rejected or judged for who they are? And remember that everyone has a story to tell. Experiences happen in person and online. As witness, upstander, responsible party, or harmed party. Pre-writing can happen in a lot of ways. You might try drawing or having your students draw their story out a little bit, or list sensory details. Remember that they can sit down and talk to each other and share ideas and test out their stories. Pre-writing should be fast and sloppy. They shouldn't be trying to write perfectly the first time through. Sharing work builds skill, builds understanding and empathy. So I highly encourage you to share your work and have your students share their work with each other. Focus on big picture revision, not mechanics. And remember, the goal isn't really to win the essay, but to give your students an authentic learning experience that teaches them the power of their own voices and actions. And I want to close with this poem by a student also at East Tech. We use poetry as part of our workshop process as a way to get to know students and help them learn to share with each other early on in the series of essay workshops. This poem starts, I am funny and smart. I am not shy. I'm a daughter of the dust that don't take no mess or apologize for living. I am birthed from morning earth. I came from a long line of serious brown women, beautiful, free, colorful. My last name Walker describes how I move in this world, sometimes happy, other times stormy. I am a raven. I am a crow. Call me anything black that has wings and flies. And that's all I have for you. I'm happy to answer questions later. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Jason Myers with Roots of American Music. We're thrilled to once again work with the Maltz Museum in collaboration with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and Lake Erie Inc. As Courtney mentioned, I believe this is our 13th year that we're involved with the Stop the Hate program, and we're very thrilled. Again, my name is Jason Myers. I am the Executive Director of Roots of American Music. Roots of American Music provides arts education, musical performances, and playing opportunities for audiences and musicians of all ages, means, and abilities, while supporting the preservation of American music and its roots. Before I became executive director here with Roots of American Music, I was actually a teaching artist for 5 years prior. So I have seen this from both sides as far as the sing out version goes. I've been in dozens of classrooms all across the region working with students with this program, and I can't speak highly enough for the program itself, and the sing out portion has just been really great. In fact, I can tell you every morning when I wake up, I have my Stop the Hate mug that I use for my morning coffee, and I often think about some of the students that I worked with. And this morning I was sitting on my back porch sipping on my coffee, and I was thinking about this call here tonight, and I was just reminded of this class at International Newcomers at Thomas Jefferson that I worked with I think it was 3 years ago. And this class, this school, had students from all over the world, from Africa, from Brazil, from all over South America. And it was funny the way that we used music in this way, where we were speaking all kinds of different languages. And I had my phone out for half the time trying to translate what some of these students were saying. And we ended up writing a song in 5 different languages: Portuguese, Spanish, French, what was the other one? English, of course, and Swahili. And we wrote this song, and we were able to use music as this way to communicate and really discuss the hate that they've seen in the countries where they came from, and as well as here in America. So I think that class really represents what the Sing Out is about. It's about using music as a tool to communicate what these students see in their life, and really to put this music together and this song together. So the way the program works with the Youth Sing Out is that there is that meeting with meet at the Maltz Museum, either virtually or in person, and the teaching artist that is assigned to the class, each class, also goes through that same tour. So that's often used as kind of an icebreaker with the first class with the teaching artist, because both the teaching artist and the students have seen the same thing, whether virtually or in person at the Maltz Museum. So that could be the catalyst to a conversation that leads into several classes with the students, between the teaching artist and the students, and a song is created. All the lyrics come from the students, and the musician or teaching artist comes up with the musical portion. And together at the end of these classes, we have a song. And that song is then recorded to be preserved forever. So with that said, mentioned earlier, Miss Beery, she's going to be coming up here in just a little bit. I'd like to leave you with the lyrics to the song Daybreak, which was the winning song in 2021, Stop the Hate You Sing Out, with Rome teaching artist Bethany Svoboda for Miss Berry's Mayfield High School 8th period class. So there's this one lyric in the bridge here that I wanted to share with you. The world is better when we come together to amplify the voices that are beaten down and weathered. When the oppressive night leaves us unable to wake, we can listen for the voices of daybreak. So with that said, I'd like to now turn it over to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame on the power of music and protest.
Thank you, Jason. Good evening, everyone. And thank you for joining us tonight during this program. And thank you for joining us in this space where we do the hard work of challenging hate in all its forms. And yes, we at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, with our mission being to engage, teach, and inspire through the power of rock and roll, strongly believe that it is through the power of music that so much change is possible. So what we offer currently with our relationship to the Stop the Hate program and Roots of American Music and Lake Erie Inc. Is supplemental materials. In other times and in the future, at some point, we love to host the actual performances of these amazing songs that these students have written. But in the meantime, we're going to continue to serve the needs of the students, the teachers, the writers, the songwriters, by giving them a lot of great materials and context via our online learning resource platform called Rock Hall EDU. I'm going to switch over to sharing my screen now to show everyone some of the resources and how to find them. What you see here is a page on our Rock Hall EDU platform. We have some references here to the contest itself, as well as some framing about what you will find in this collection of assets. Some of the things you see here are videos, some are actual scanned historical documents, some are playlists. So a big thing to note, this website is free, but does require a sign up by at least someone over the age of 16. So you use an email to sign up to access most of this content, because some of it is protected, or a lot of our physical collection that is scanned into the system is restricted by certain gift rules from those that are the owners of the actual item. So again, it's free to sign up, but please be sure to do so. But this is the Stop the Hate group, which contains a whole host of things. If you participated last year and utilized these, you'll recognize some of them. One thing to note that is brand new in 2021 is our Perspectives collection. If I click on that there, you'll see it takes you to another section of Rock Hall EDU, where we have individually gone in and identified iconic songs that have a lot to say. And we guide the students through understanding the perspective of that songwriter as they were creating it. What was their story? What were they trying to say? What was their experience? What were they hoping to achieve with the song that they wrote? So that is a new feature of this group that you'll be able to access. And I'm going to go back really quick so everyone can see where to go to get these things. So actually, if you are on, and I have to move my little thing here, excuse me. If you are on the Maltz Museum's website on their Learn section, as was mentioned before, if you scroll down and you say, take me to online workshops, you will see right here for the Youth Sing Out workshop, you can click this link and it will again take you directly to our page. And then in order to access many of the videos and things, you will need that login. So please be sure to sign up for that. In addition to that, and we will be working to add some links as well, but we at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame feel like the voices that have been singing out for generations, especially those of African American and artists of color, we've highlighted them in our museum in our It's Been Said All Along Voices of Rage, Hope, and Empowerment exhibit. And this exhibit is available digitally online. And for the foreseeable future, it will be there. So please be sure to check this out as well. We have special interviews, as you saw there. You can scroll down here. Each one of these links takes you to a different section of the story and of the exhibit, as well as a 360 camera walkthrough of the exhibit with some highlights of some of the special artifacts we have in there, like Bob Marley's hat, Mavis Staples' dress, James Brown's suit, and the original lyrics to Public Enemy's Fight the Power song. So we have all these great resources available to you and everyone to get as many perspectives, because honestly, that is where we all find more often than not actual change, when we're all able to learn about how others experience and see the world. And it is often through the words of their music, in the case of performers like James Brown and so many of the amazing talented students that we've had write songs throughout the years, where they are expressing themselves and trying to teach us a new perspective, a new way to see the world, and a new way to see ourselves in their world. So thank you again to everybody for joining us. Thank you again to the Maltz Museum for continuing to push this and support this program and having us included. And now I will turn it over to the 2021 Stop the Hate Teacher of the Year, Kari Beery from Mayfield Schools.
Thank you so much, Joe. And thank you to everyone that's joining us tonight. I was asked to speak on behalf of what it's like to be a teacher, to actually implement this programming in a working classroom and to engage students in this act of positive change. And so let me just take a few minutes to tell you how exciting this is. And also to tell you from a realistic standpoint, how to approach this program and to know that you're supported all the way through the program, through the works of the Maltz, through Lake Erie Inc., the Roots of American Music, and the Rock Hall. As you've heard, they have put together a tremendous program. So I'm going to start with that. Teachers, if you are apprehensive, please don't be. This is such an authentic experience and such a moment to take your students and have them actually become part of a live and working discourse in our community. They can learn to stand up for things that they believe in. They can ruminate and reflect on important matters and places where they want to stand to be active citizens, and to have a place to share experiences and to feel and know that their voices matter. And this is outside the vacuum of a lot of our, contained, organized experiences with classroom assignments. You are engaged with all these people that are working in tandem with you to open up a conversation. And not only that, celebrate the conversation once it is written or sung, and they are going to hear the enthusiasm and a reverberance of all of these things happening together, almost like a symphony of people working together for this positive change. So teachers, please know a couple things will happen. You will be supported. The curriculum has been it has been designed for you. You will have excellent support with all of those tenets that I just talked about. There will be immediate contact for any questions you have concerning how things are going to move along. You are going to be matched up with a teaching artist that is an artist. And it's hard to sometimes invite people into your classroom, but these people are so gifted. They have been, they're enthusiastic about what they're doing. They are poised. They are ready to and ready to dig in deep and experienced to hold space for kids that need to learn how to express themselves. And you can trust that that's going to happen from an outside source. The other thing you're going to do is I'll speak for myself. I really learned professionally. I've been teaching in the classroom for 25 years. I learned so much from working with the artists from Lake Erie Inc. and the artists from the Roots of American Music. I took my kids to, my own children to the Rock Hall and had conversations even outside of this too, to learn of all the resources there and just the conversations that are naturally occurring because music brings us together. So teachers, take a risk, do something new, invite this change into your world and show students that their hard work and their voices matter. Students, if you're listening right now, sometimes it can sound like it's just a crafted idea through maybe another thing that a teacher has thought about. This is the real deal. This is where you can really launch yourself. You can start to think about what matters to you, and you can start to critically think about who you want to be in the world and what agent of change that you want to bring to the world. And that does take courage. And so that quote that they're using this year is going to be a great way to launch yourself in there. Thank you so much to the Maltz Museum for having me and naming me the Teacher of the Year. And at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Shober Hammer, who's going to tell you how to book the workshops.
All right, hello, there I am. I am Shober Hammer. I am here to help you book your workshop. So when you are ready to book, or if you have any questions about the program, or if there's anything that we can help you know about any of the different components, we can take you to learn.maltzmuseum.org. Under Book a Workshop and under Book Now, we have a form for you to fill out that comes directly to me. So feel free to put your information in there, as well as any questions you might have, any other details you'd like to know about, and we will get you connected with either Lake Erie Inc. or Roots of American Music to schedule your sessions and go over any details like your tour or survivor talk. And of course, if you have any questions at any point or just want to get in touch, feel free to email me directly at education@mmgh.org. And I put both of those into the chat so that you can reach out. All right. Thank you all for coming, and I'm going to turn it back over to Scott Simon for our Q&A.
Great, Shober, thank you so much. I'm so glad that all of you watching tonight get a chance to see all of the terrific people behind this program and that make it possible, and that will make it possible for you this year. So I'd like to open up the conversation to any of you that have questions. I know that there were a couple of questions in the chat, one of which had to do with the Stop the Hate website. And I want to make sure that the online tour, that we have a chance to go through that quickly. I just want to check and see if there were any other questions in the chat. There was a question about volunteer readers, and there should be an answer. I think Dahlia answered it, related to the where to register to be a volunteer reader. And I think there was an answer. There was a question about about the ability to put in an anonymous essay. I don't know that I've ever heard that question. It's a very interesting one. Dahlia or Courtney, do you want to address that one?
We definitely will need to have the person. We don't have an anonymous essay. We will need to know the person's name because in the end, we will be, if that person wins, then their essay will be public. There'll be times where we're sharing that to the public on our website. We also let teachers use the essays in their classrooms. So at this time, you will need to be able to have your name in it. I mean, that it's done by you. However, names of the people you're talking about, that you're not to use real names there. So while we know it's you, you should not put the real names in of the people you're talking about, the situation.
Great. Okay, hopefully that answers that question. Courtney, you mentioned that there was a question about the Rock Hall, and I want to make sure that
Joe,
has
would
the
you like
opportunity.
to answer that one?
Absolutely. And my apologies. I did miss one very important button that I know would be useful to Stacy Kaufman out there. So again, to sign up for EDU, it does require, actually, I do believe the age is 13 and over. This is an internet rule that we follow ourselves for, of course, the children's safety online. But for anybody who is not eligible to sign up for EDU, we have a way for them to still see and access the content. It just requires a logged in user to go to the page. I'm going to share my screen again really quick. But basically they will go to the page and select anything they want to see. We'll take Aretha Franklin's song Respect here. Actually, yes. So this is a video. And if you go here and you click on the generate temporary authorization link, it actually is a CD case, though it looks like a coffee mug. If you click this button here on any asset, it creates a URL that provides temporary access for up to 14 days, as you see there, for anybody that you send that link to. So if you are interested in sending this video to your students or to somebody working in the program that is not eligible for signing up, you can email this to them, drop it in whatever chat system you may be using for your facilitations, and they will be able to click that link for 14 days and be able to watch the video when they need to. When it comes to some of the playlists and things like that, basically the playlists generate a Spotify embedded playlist here, so you can link to Spotify through there. And if you are able to share that with the students, you may go ahead and do so. Or you can also use the download file button here as well. And that will basically open a PDF where we have a little bit more context, a little bit more instruction, and then of course the copy of the playlist for students to explore on their own. So again, you can either download that and share it around, or again, use those temporary authorization links. So there are ways for those under that age limit to access our content, but it does require the facilitator to share that with them.
Great. Joe, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Mary Brown had asked a couple of questions, and I know that Cynthia had responded to her, but I think that they're really important questions that everybody should hear. And that is, Mary asks, she's curious if it's possible to facilitate with a whole school, and also is it possible to facilitate with extracurricular clubs? So I'd like to, whoever would like to kind of take the lead on that, Courtney, if you want to take the lead on that, and then maybe we can have Cynthia as well and others.
Yes, you can have multiple groups, multiple classes with multiple teachers. I'm reading the chat. I just want to make sure I'm on the right question. Yes, you can do that. As far as after school groups, Dahlia, I believe we can.
Sure, absolutely.
I
Our
wanna
goal is
confirm.
to as many
Yeah.
kids as possible, right? We want to help as many kids get this content as we can in order for it to be a free program funded by the Maltz Museum. we do ask that it's a group of 15 or more kids. I mean, we've worked with homeschool groups. We can work with an after school group. We can work with a club at a school, but we do ask that it's 15 kids minimum. And so however you would want to pull that group together there, I mean, Cynthia could probably respond to how ages might mesh together, because there might be a difference in how content might operate, you know, if you're at a 8 through 12, or, you know, because obviously the contest, we do the same programs for 6th through 12th grade. So I don't know that you would want a 6th through 12th grade mesh of kids all in the same group because of the kinds of content that the kids might be discussing. But I definitely think that's something Cynthia or Jason could speak to more specifically. But from a Maltz Museum perspective and funding the program and the collaborative experience, we want to get as many kids as we can stop the hate content to help build empathy and compassionate communication in the classrooms and between students. So we are working with Cynthia and Lake Erie Inc. right now on multiple classes within a school. And we've had discussions with certain districts about how it would look to expand into an entire high school. So we're exploring what that looks like and how that operates. So that's, you know, that we're happy to name every school who participates in a free workshop is also eligible to receive funds that support continued Stop the Hate education in the year ahead. So last year we had 30 schools and we had a pot of money of $30,000. Every school that participated in a workshop, all of those 30 schools got $1,000 for the year ahead. And so Courtney just got our first grant request not too long ago. And Collinwood, we're so excited, is going to be building a library section on multiculturalism, and then also creating an intergenerational book club with teachers and students to have a cross-community dialogue. And so that's the Stop the Hate program at work. It begins here with these workshops. And then because we want to invest in the schools and the students and teachers, it's going to continue into the year ahead. And so just so that everybody knows that. I mean, of course, the more schools that participate, the smaller the funds, but that's okay. We'll stretch it out. We'll do whatever we can. So that we just wanted you to know that there's a continued investment with you to see the support continue for whatever it's worth. I don't know if anybody else wants to speak to the influence across the school or how it can operate.
I was just going to say that we have been in schools, in Kari's school. I think because of Kari, we might have seen eight teachers maybe, or 2 different groupings last year. And so we can certainly see a lot of classes. In some schools, we've actually combined classes because last year attendance was poor in some schools. And so to get that 15 number, we had to combine. So teachers worked together to bring their students in together to the workshops. And we did do some after school and some lunchtime clubs, I think, too. And the other question I saw in here that I can answer is that for Lake Erie Inc., it's an average of 6 workshop sessions. Occasionally, if somebody has a 90-minute block, we might do it in 5. Occasionally, if somebody has a 40-minute block, we might do it in 7 or 8. Okay, so, but it's an average of 6 workshops.
Great.
Jason, will you let them know about the songwriting workshops? How long?
Sure. Yeah.
No process.
Yeah, no problem. So last year we developed a digital version of Stop the Hate. We were virtual last year, and that was a little bit different than what we had done in the past with the in-person. But last year through the virtual programming, it was 3 classes. So there's the Maltz virtual tour last year. And then there are 3 songwriting workshops. And by the end of that 3rd class or workshop, that song has been written. And then last year, the teaching artist recorded the song that was written by the class. The in-person event or the in-person classes, that's a little bit different. They're not too much, but there's 3 in-person visits where the song is written. The 4th visit is really practicing the song and getting it ready for recording. And then the 5th song would be the recording of the class inside the classroom. I hope that answers that.
Great. I think it absolutely does. Thank you so much. I'm not seeing anything else in the chat at the moment. I know that the Maltz staff are available to you. If you have questions, I'm sure you can reach out to them specifically and they will get back to you. Is there anything anybody else, any of the other panelists would like to add? I see Courtney
Yes.
and Joe.
Joe is raising his hand.
Okay, Joe. Sorry, I didn't see you, Joe.
No worries. Thanks, Scott. I wanted to add one more thing in regards to accessing the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. If anybody out there is not aware, we are open 7 days a week. We have various abilities for folks to access the Rock Hall for everything from free up to discounted rates for most folks from the Northeast Ohio area. For anyone out there that lives in the city of Cleveland, you are free to enter the Rock Hall under our Cle VIP program. I'm dropping the link here in the chat for all of the discounts. But if you go to that link and you scroll down, and again, you live in the city of Cleveland, you can register tickets in the Cle VIP section. You can get one ticket per adult resident. You do have to prove residency in the city of Cleveland with either an ID, bills, anything relevant that gives you or shows your residency in the city of Cleveland. And for every one adult under the Cle VIP program, you can get up to 5 youth admissions, anyone under 18, in with you for free. So if there's a 2 household and you have 3 or 4 kids that you would like to take with you, and both adults can prove residency in the city of Cleveland, come on down to the Rock Hall for free. You just have to reserve your tickets ahead of time by using that link that's in there. For all other folks, we do have discounted tickets available for all Northeast Ohio residents, again, with proof of residency in the relatively close zip codes to the Rock Hall. And of course, admission is always available though for purchase by anyone else. And group tickets are discounted after 15 or more. So just wanted to put that out there because, again, we are open. We are requiring masks to be worn while exploring the museum inside. But otherwise, we hope that folks can come on down, see the It's Been Said All Along exhibit and all of our other great exhibits that celebrate, again, the power of music and how it can change the world. So please check those out and come see us sometime soon. Thank you.
Thanks so much. That's so exciting, Joe. Scott, I want to, just before we close, do you think it would be, I know at the beginning of the Q&A, we talked about showing the Stop the Hate digital tour for anyone who wants to take a sneak peek. Shober, would you be open to throwing that up online?
Sure, just a
we
moment.
can close out with that maybe, in case there's any more questions. Or awesome. So let's have digital tour.
All right.
Great. So this is a really simple to follow site. It is a sample of the site of the experience that you would have in the museum. So basically what you're going to do as you move through is to, this is a video that you actually have in the museum that does have some trigger. So we ask that you might watch it before you share it with your kids or students if you're on, maybe have your guardians or mentors watch it just to make sure that you're comfortable. It is about hate and some of the experiences we've seen throughout history that leads us up until today. It gives context for the rest of the program. And as we go through, as Shober's scrolling down, we do have these little arrows at the top. These are for anyone who's differently abled and has learning differences, and it's easier to do auditory versus visual learning. So those are just recordings that you can listen as you read or instead of reading. And then here, this is one of to me, the most powerful pieces in our museum, which is an adult and child-size Ku Klux Klan robe. And so the structure of the entire tour is based on what we see, what we know, and what we wonder. And within that context, we share exactly what we're looking at. We share the history of the piece and what we learn about history from that artifact, and then what questions it prompts. Each section, Stop the Hate, this is the use of power and influence. Each section has 2 artifacts and then an activity, which students have the option of participating in. So Shober, just want to scroll down and show the different artifacts that we use. This is something, I'm not sure how many people are familiar. This is called the International Jew. It's the world's foremost problem. It was distributed in every Ford car at a certain period of time. When you purchased a Ford, this was in your glove compartment. And so we start to talk about how power is used to influence, and how one person can have a lot of power over a lot of people based on their position. And so those are we start to formulate questions about what that means and how we consider our environment and what we're presented with. And so here's an example of an activity at the bottom after looking through those 2 pieces. And this is called Make Your Voice Heard, where we invite students to think about anything that's impacted them: women's suffrage movement, civil rights movement, and different moments in our history that have used individual voice to make change. So listening to protest music and writing your own song, protest art, to create your own piece of art, speeches, to write your own essay or speech. And that's sort of a jumping point into our contest itself. So these are all things that can be used whether you're participating in a workshop or not. So an individual student or small group could go through and activate same sort of storytelling that happens as if you were in the museum, or as if you were in the workshop on a different kind of level. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone could see through this. Shober, if you want to scroll through the whole thing just to give people a sense of what it looks like and some of the artifacts that we're accessing. So these are the pieces. It's very easy to scroll through.
Dahlia?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just want to say also, Shober, if you want to click on a picture, you can make it bigger too, which is great.
Right, so that's an image of Kristallnacht, which was a violent attack during, that said to have prompted a significant uptick that created ultimately what we know as the Holocaust. This is the tour. So it's very simple and easy to navigate. And many of our teachers have used it as pre-work that leads up to the workshop. So it can be homework for students, or it can be part of the overall experience, and the teaching artists can go through it. So I just wanted to share that piece. If anybody has any other questions about the tour itself, or about booking at the museum, and let us know.
Great. Well, I think I'll, on everyone's behalf on the call, just say thank you to all of you. And to Kari, congratulations again. You're our hero and role model. You show us the best of the best. So congratulations to you and thank you, and to all of the staff. You guys are incredible. And thank you all for joining us tonight for this really informative and special evening. Thank you guys so much.